Well, hello, my lovely nestlings, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to chat about neutral eyeshadow palettes. I know, who am I? Don't click out yet. This is what you want to see. Yes, because today I am going to talk about and rank my top 5 neutral eyeshadow palettes. And while I was putting these palettes, I found out that I have a very black and white way of seeing a neutral palette. And if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Nikki. I'm 46 from the Netherlands, hence the accent. And I love makeup, especially colorful makeup. But I am finding, especially this summer, that I'm very much gravitating towards neutral palettes. So when I saw Betty Jean do her favorite neutral palettes, and I will link her channel down below, I was like, ooh, I have those too. So I immediately started thinking, and I pulled the palettes that I immediately think of, that I have in my collection when I think of a neutral palette. So what is my idea of neutral? My idea of neutral is very narrow, and that means neutrals are browns, and also browns that are, I kind of want to say neutral brown and cool brown, and because if they turn too warm, I am like, yeah, but now it's more along the orange and yellow and red, then it's not neutral for me anymore. Why? It's anyone's guess. It's anyone's guess. Let's give you an example. This one from Nomad Cosmetics. When people see this, a lot of people say, but that's a neutral palette. Yeah, but apparently right now it's not. Because it's too green. There's a minty green in there, and then there's a different feeling of the palette. So let me tell you what a neutral palette makes me feel like. It makes me feel, I almost want to say classy. I don't know. Marilyn Monroe, 1950s. I don't know, but that's kind of how I feel when I pull these palettes. Let's just get into it. Let's just start. I have them ranked as well, and so I just pulled 5 palettes out of my collection. Now these are not all the neutral palettes that I have. These are just the palettes that I immediately think of when I think of a neutral palette. As I said, I have more neutral palettes in my collection. Let's do an honorary mention, and those are the Catrice 5 in a box. I really love the quality of these. These didn't make the video because I don't use them enough, and I wanted to keep it at 5. But if you see these, they are an amazing quality. So just saying, I just kind of wanted to throw it out there. Yes, let's start with number 5 then. And number 5 is a palette from a brand that's very near and dear to my heart. This was actually not PR. I bought this palette myself. I am on their PR list. I'm an affiliate with the brand, and I as a result also have a discount code, which is Nikki10. It's a Dutch brand, and yeah, it's this one. It's their Desert Revamped palette. This is what she looks like, and this for me is here not because of the quality, because the quality is amazing. The reason that it is here is this is kind of bordering a little bit on neutral to color. Why is that? Because of these two that are in here, that I'm like, it's kind of on the cusp. It's kind of on the cusp, but honestly, when I open up this palette, these are actually not the shades that I use. So I very much use the neutral shades here. I also love that it kind of has a twist with these shades that I actually never use, but also that you have that gray here and then that grayer shimmer here, which kind of reminds me of the color of our North Sea, or the Sea of the North. That's a very epic name for our sea. It's the North Sea, but Sea of the North sounds very cool. So I love that that is in here, but this is already bordering for me a little bit more on the, it should be in another video where I'm going to talk about my toasty palettes, because this does make me feel toasty. It's still a neutral palette, and I consider it as such. Very nice quality indeed. I will link it down below. Okay, so that was number 5. Number 4 is a palette that I have here next to me as well, and it's actually I think my most used palette of the brand, at least right now. It's also the only, well, is it truly neutral? Probably not, but I consider it a neutral palette, because if I have that, you know, Marilyn Monroe 1950s vibe without the red lipstick, don't ask. Then this is basically what I go for. I love the way that this looks, but it does not necessarily make me feel glamorous, if that makes any sense. It's vibrant, but it's a different feeling than, I'm trying to explain something and I'm failing miserably. Let's just go to number 4. Number 4, it's the Mandalorian palette from the Star Wars collection. This is also my idea of neutral. And it kind of is. It's a little bit more cool tone, maybe a little bit more condensed than the one from 50/50 Makeup, the Desert palette. It's also a little bit cooler. I like the fact that this row is in here, you know, the gray. And I don't know why per se, but I find these types of gray, so the very cool tone brown, so gray but still a little bit brown, not taupe but gray but then a little bit brown. I still consider that very much neutral, so for me this is a neutral palette. This one almost makes it a little bit more not neutral. This one I like in a neutral palette. I love the quality of this one. This is my most used Colourpop palette to date, yes. Then we're going to go to number 3. Number 3 is a newer palette in my collection, and I haven't mentioned it in a video as I'm filming this because I kind of forgot to film my, what was it, July haul. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to group it together at the end of August and then film my summer haul. So that's where you will see this palette. And it's from Stacey Alex. And it is the Owl Moon palette. Now this one is... This is what she looks like. I have used her, I don't know if I used her on camera, but I have used her a few times off camera. Now, on camera, this one looks a little bit more red than I can see it in real life. This one is a very vibrant, fiery, it's an orangey bronze or something. I don't really know how to explain this, or an orange gold. And this one kind of pulls it a little bit more towards that I'm like, it's almost a toasty palette, but then these three are very much not. Does that still make sense? Stacey Alex is based in Belarus. So if you are in Belarus, Russia and Poland, you can order through their main site. If you are outside of that and you want the newer palettes, you have to go to their French part, and I will link their Instagram handle down below, and you have to order through DM then. It's still Stacey Alex though. But they have a bunch of very, very cool color stories. They are all inspired by birds, and this one is inspired by the owl, or at least one owl. I don't know which one, but an owl. And when I saw Owl Moon, I was like, I need it. And I'm very, very happy that I picked it up, because I think, can I just... How cool. And it's almost that again, that yellow, orange and that gray. It's a very, very nice quality. And this is, I had a lot of fun playing with this palette. Then my palette number 2. And number 2, I don't think it's going to be a surprise for a lot of people, especially if you know what I have in my collection. But this is considered, for me at least, a neutral palette. And the other one that I also have is not. And I will explain it in a little bit. It's from Natasha Denona, and it's the Glam palette. This was actually a present from a friend. This is very much... When I think of a neutral palette, this is the palette that I think of. Why is it not a number 1, you ask? Bear with me. Also, I'm going to tell you now, what is not on number 1 is the gold palette. Because the gold palette, for me, it's more, as I said, that toasty. Which it's too yellow orange base for me to classify it as a neutral shade. Why? I don't know. So this for me is very much a neutral palette when I think of it, and I really, really like the quality. When I'm not filming and I grab a neutral palette, this is a lot of the time one that I grab for, especially if I want a little bit more variation compared to my number 1. Let's then go for my number 1. Can I get a drum roll, please? Number 1 is a palette. It's a small palette. It's the Complete Experience though. The quality of this is so, so good. And you know what? If I want to have a neutral look that turns out well every time, that if I forget to grab an eyeshadow primer, which sometimes happens when I just want to, I don't know, do a neutral look, you know, a little bit of makeup, a little bit of eye makeup, mascara, and go out the door. I oftentimes forget to do an eyeshadow base, and this palette works well with a base, without a base, and it is pretty every single time. My number 1 top neutral palette, at least of summer 2022, is from Kaleidos, and it is their Cold Brew palette. This is the Complete Experience. This just looks so, so pretty. I also have the other one, and I actually thought that I would like the other one more, but no, this one. I love this one so, so much. And it's just so easy to use. I don't have to think about what I want to do when I open this palette, I can just slap all the shades on and it is pretty always. So yeah, that's it. I have more neutral palettes in my collection, but these are the ones that I thought of immediately when I thought of a neutral palette. And if you're like, yeah, but you also have that one, it could be that I haven't filmed with it just yet. You know? I think that's going to be it today. That was it. It was a quick video just for in between, just because I found it cool. Let me know if you have any of these palettes. Let me know your favorite neutral palettes if you have them, or if you're a neutral lover, let me know your favorite colorful palettes if you have any. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening. May your foundation always match your neck, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.